I just wanted to let everybody know we're going to get started in a few minutes. I know there were some questions about the bus tours after this. Don't worry, we will not leave you. We know that there will be time to transfer from here over to the buses, so there's no need to worry about timing. We got you. So we'll begin in just a few minutes.
We're about ready to get started, ladies and gentlemen, so if everybody could find their seats. Welcome to Alumni Weekend and the State of the University Address and the Hughes Society induction. My name is Chuck Landis, and it's my honor as a member of the class of '74 reunion committee, yay 74, I'm honored to serve as the MC for this afternoon's event. Before introducing President Crawford, I first would like to thank the Knolls of Oxford for their generous support of today's event. We sincerely appreciate the partnership and relationship that Miami University and the Knolls of Oxford have throughout the year. And for those of us maybe beyond retirement and ever thinking of staying or coming back to Oxford, I would encourage you to go out west towards the airport, the country club. They have a beautiful facility out there. So I'm twisting my wife Peggy's arm to maybe go see what it looks like. Just kidding. Well, today is a very special event, and this afternoon we are very honored to be spending it with Miami University's 22nd president, President Greg Crawford. Before joining the Miami community, Greg was vice president and associate provost at the University of Notre Dame. He previously served as the dean of engineering at Brown University. Since arriving at Miami in 2016, Greg has prioritized student engagement, collaboration, and interdisciplinary study across Miami's campuses and academic departments. It is my distinct pleasure and honor this afternoon to introduce Miami's 22nd president, Greg Crawford.
Thank you, Chuck. Well, thank you. Good afternoon. Are you ready for a big weekend? Yeah. Awesome. Well, welcome home. It's great to have you back to campus, and I'm sure you're going to see some brand new things, and I'll kind of point them out to you today so you can walk by them or walk in them as you go through campus this weekend. But this is a State of the University address, and so it's an update that I gave to campus in the spring. And then we kind of tweaked it up as well with all the new stuff that's been happening since March to bring it to you today. So I'm going to go through a few things. There's like that picture there. Isn't that a gorgeous picture? And then if somebody can get the lights off the screen, that'd be great in the back. Can you get that down? Right here? Down, down, down. A little further. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Okay, great. And so today's themes are going to be, I'm going to give you some campus updates, and then I'm going to go through our planning process and also our excellence and all the great things that are going on in Miami. So first, we're going to talk about anticipating our tomorrow. I think everybody kind of knows and they've read about higher ed in the newspapers, correct? Of course. There's all kinds of challenges and headwinds that we face, notwithstanding the demographics shifting in the wrong way with far fewer high school students, and that's predicted to keep diving down. And furthermore, students that are graduating high school, many are deciding not to go to college. And so we kind of get a double whammy there. And there's other elements and issues about business models and sustainability and discounting where it's a real buyer's market out there. So if you're a student right now, you can get a great deal going to college. And so we have to wrestle with that on our own finances. And so we're undertaking a very big strategic planning process on campus. Very, very large. And we've already engaged over 700 people on campus. And by the time all is said and done in December, it'll be over several thousand people that we've engaged. We're looking at 3 areas. First is future back. And what that means is we look out 20, 25 years and kind of ask ourselves, what does it look like then, and how do we get ready for it today? And so kind of one thing we're sort of anticipating is that in our area, Dayton and Cincinnati are coming together, and in 10, 15 years, they're going to be a very large and substantial metroplex in this country, you know, very much like a Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so we're going to be right smack dab in the middle of all of that. So that's one area that's going to change big time on us in the future. And then present forward, those are sort of addressing the challenges of today, that we know that with fewer students going to college and fewer graduating high school, they will probably have to spend just one more extra dollar on marketing, one more extra dollar on that scholarship and so forth as we kind of move forward. So we're thinking about how we do that in our business model. And then, of course, foundational strengths. I like to call it past preservation, but that sounds kind of bad. But what that means is that what is your special sauce, and what will you never sort of leave in terms of a strategy? And so we have this thing called the teacher-scholar model, where our professors are highly engaged with our students, and they do all kinds of great things in research and sort of all kinds of different learning experiences and experiential learning. And we're going to keep that for sure. And we'll keep our focus definitely on our undergraduates, because that's what we're really known for and where we excel. So those are the 3 things. And so our plan will come out in probably late December, and we'll be off and running with it in January of 2025. Now, there's some things that are common that you think would come out of this, but I'll tell you the few things that are going to be rather bigger and newer. So the lifelong skills of critical thinking, writing, ethical and moral reasoning, how to manage nuance and interpretation, etc. That'll always be core to Miami, and we'll do that through our Global Miami plan, but we'll strengthen that area. And then we have research and scholarship and creativity, and some 2,000 to 3,000 undergraduates do research every year with the professor, and so that's going to be our strength for sure. We'll keep that. But a couple of newer areas are coming out that students, when we speak to them, they want more experiential learning and more applied learning. So how do you practice, and sort of how do you do things in the real world while you're in school, whether that's through more internship opportunities in the summer or things which will do more integration on campus. Then, of course, academic program flexibility. So this generation wants to be more like an architect of their curriculum as well. They want to have some more choices and be able to build things in more module-like things that maybe a degree doesn't have, but they see something coming and they want to put together a degree. And so we'll be doing more flexibility that way. And then partnerships and urban bridges. We think that we're going to probably need to be in a few cities around the country in kind of a bigger way so that students can spend a semester there. So much like a semester abroad, we're thinking a semester away. And so they can go work at some of the companies that we can partner with. So that's some of the new stuff that's coming out that you'll hear more of when it comes out in January. And then expanding on our excellence. A couple of things. If you read the newspapers, it was kind of brutal this year. So the federal government kind of messed up this thing called FAFSA. And what that is, it's a way in which they sort of look at a family's sort of incomes and then sort of assess what kind of federal aid they can get. And then we look at that and see how much we have to backfill it to make that student and that family the ability to come to this university. And so those were way off the mark, late and everything else. And so we were really sweating bullets as that happened, because people were holding on to their confirmations for a long time. And we extended our deadline through May 15th, which was 2 weeks later. And then 2 weeks before that, on May 1st, I remember sitting there, and we were 1,000 students behind from last year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you miss 100 students, that's bad. That's a bad problem. But 1,000, I'm like, oh my Lord. Well, lo and behold, as May 15th came around, That number 4624, which is 400 up, is now, it's about 450 up. And so we crushed last year sort of, so we had about 1,478 new from that 2-week sort of binge of applying and confirming. So we're in great shape, and we're so fortunate because if you look around the country, you'll be seeing those headlines that people are missing their classes and not getting their sort of goals on sort of enrollment numbers. So everything is up there. You can look at Ohio residents is up, non-Ohio residents is up, international is up, students of color are up, first-generation students, Pell Grant students, and the Honors College is exploding. And so really good stuff there. So I'm much happier than I was on May 1st. And then spotlighting our students. Our students are extraordinary. When you have the privilege of serving at this institution, you get to meet some kids, and they come in, they're great raw material when they come in. They got all kinds of interests, they're so talented, and they come here and they become even more talented after they go through the curriculum and so forth. So it's really neat to see. So this year, we had a Fulbright, and then we had, for the first time, we had 3 Goldwater Fellowships awarded to our students. So sometimes you get, if you get 1, you're happy. If you get 2, you're like, it's awesome. But a university getting 3 is extraordinary. It's that competitive. And then we got the first Rangel Scholarship, which is brand new as well. But if you look at the national fellowships down there, we secured 33 this year. And so we kind of we broke our record last year and the year before in terms of getting those, and having 3 Goldwater was awesome. And then furthermore, the Phi Beta Kappa, that's an honorary for all the students in the liberal arts and the natural sciences. It's the biggest and the most prestigious one in the country. And so we had 162 inducted this year, and so we broke that record as well. So not only are we happy with the class coming in, but the graduating students and the seniors and so forth are doing really well. I thought I'd give you a few examples. So Molly Duffy's a rising senior, and she studies public administration, but she really did a big voter effort. And what she did there was she got buses available and got it all funded, and was able to take students to the polling stations and back, and even to their hometowns if they wanted to vote early. So there was a big push on that. And I'm going to show you another kind of accolade we got about voting later on, but keep this one in mind. So it's very cool. Yes, we need to vote, right? And then Nolan Elyria. So he's a race car driver. It's amazing. So he's a junior in mechanical engineering, and last year, he's a multi-generational race car driver, so it's in his blood. And so last year, he's like, I need to take off a semester. We hear kinds of stuff like this all the time. Can I do like my capstone project while I'm away? I'm going to go race cars. They're like, sure. Like, whatever, Well, he wins first place, the Formula Championship and the Formula Ford Championship. And so he's just doing awesome. And he has this great suit that he wears. It's a Miami suit in his car when he's all wrapped up to race it. So he's really a phenomenal student, and he loves all the technology behind the cars. And so he's back, but he's off on the road again this semester, next semester to race again. So really kind of a really neat guy. And I love showing this video, but Sam Deary was on The Voice. Does anybody watch The Voice? Yes. So he was our student. And it's awesome, and he's really talented. He plays around town, uptown, in the various places, and so he's really well known here. But I thought if we turn it up nice and loud, show you his performance. Up, 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 up.
Oh, that sounds like a country song.
I go out walking.
Okay.
That's the plan.
After midnight, out in the starlight.
Sounds like an Elvis.
Just like we used to do. I'm always
Blake
walking.
would love this.
After midnight, searching for you. Hey! I go out walking.
Keep it up, Sam. Keep it up.
Midnight, out in the moonlight.
What do you think, Reba?
Just a little bit, maybe somewhere walking after midnight, searching for me. I go walking after midnight, searching for
that pretty cool or what? Yeah, so he is awesome, wouldn't you say? That old Patsy Cline favorite, huh? Awesome. So another area that we've really done extraordinarily well this year is with research. And the unique thing about Miami's research enterprise is that the involvement with undergraduates. And so we like to tell students that are sort of, thinking about Miami that if you come here, you can be more than just absorbing knowledge from sort of textbooks. But you can be a creator of new knowledge, and you can create something that nobody else has ever studied before in the world, or you could debunk a myth or something else that you sort of find in your research. And so it's really kind of unique here, and it's one of our areas of our special sauce. But if you can look, we've had constant increases since 2017 in terms of external funding. And so last year was a $37 million, and we're going to smash it this year. We're already above $44 million. But we expect to be sort of close or even a little bit south of 50 here soon. So it's very exciting that those dollars come in, and then we can support our students. They can get paid, they can have access to great new equipment and facilities and materials, and they can go to conferences and do all kinds of things that in many places that's only sort of what graduate students can do. So we're really happy about that. And I'll give you some examples. So this year, Randy Thomas is the vice president of sort of our community relations aspect, and Andy Durajai was the vice president of the regional campuses, and they brought in the biggest research grant to Miami. And so they got a $10 million award from Butler County commissioners, and I'm going to come back to this. It's for a manufacturing hub in Hamilton, and so it's really neat, but it was really great to have that record-setting grant. And then Hugh Wang, he is got a National Institute of Health grant, and he studies optical tomography, and so it's a way in which you take sort of light beams that are coherent, so they're kind of in phase with each other, and then you bounce it off tissues that are layered, and then you can get a three-dimensional image. They use it on retinas and many other things in higher ed, and many other things in medicine. And so he's also, in addition to all of his great research, he's an inventor, and so we have US patents that he's also created in this area. So very neat. And Heidi McKee is an English professor here, and she works on the AI of writing and sort of how it all works and so forth. And what was neat about her projects is that she involved sort of 4 different students that became co-authors on a publication in terms of AI and English and writing. And so it was really a great outcome for those students. And then there's Bursin Bayram. She's in physics, and she does what's called molecular spectroscopy. So she takes laser beams and you kind of juice up some atoms, and they get excited when they get hit with that light, those photons, and they go to a higher energy level and they kind of bounce around. And they look and see how much time it takes to relax back to their sort of equilibrium state. But nevertheless, it sounds very basic, but it's actually very important for quantum computing, which is headed our way. And so we got that coming down the road as new technologies in this country as well. So we're kind of on the front end of that. And then the science of reading, there's 5 colleagues here that you see from education, health, and society, teachers. And so the science of reading is a way in which it's been shown at different states how to really improve your reading level in K through 12. And in Ohio, we're a bit down on that number as a whole, as a state. And so the Governor DeWine, our alum, is into the science of reading, and so he's really been pushing hard. And so this group, this cohort of faculty members and staff got a nice grant so that we can offer that, so our student teachers can be trained in that, and they go off, and then they'll be ready to rip raring to go when they get to the classroom, and they won't need further training. And then there's Haley Morrison in the Farmer School of Business, and she just had a great publication in the Journal of Management, which is a really highest echelon of publications you can do in business. And her research was pretty cool. And it was about praising how supervisors praise their employees at work. And it sounds like, okay, just praise everybody, right? Well, it's quite interesting for those that are, I don't know what you want to call them, but you could take praise well, that are more normal. They take it well, and they actually motivates them. But those employees with narcissistic tendencies at work, they don't do well with it, and it causes more disruption as they get a big head and a big ego. And so it's a great study on a sort of a management front. And so if you have a chance, you might want to look at this one, look at it, because it's really interesting. And then honoring our impacts. And so in addition to what we're doing on sort of the faculty side with research, we're also been very active with our staff members, seeking kinds of dollars from the state and other agencies and granting institutions such that we can bolster what's important to us. And so not just using internal resources, but also getting those that we can pile on and do more by matching them. And so we had a great year. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. So this is just a few examples of people that are just doing extraordinary stuff. So Shawnika Pope and Amy Roberts are two faculty members, and in their regions in Ohio, they both got Social Worker of the Year. Yeah, it's awesome. And then they put them all in a group in all of Ohio, and they pick one only. And so Shawnika was the Social Worker of Ohio for the whole of Ohio. And so quite the accomplishment. Yeah, it was awesome. Our programs in this area are fantastic. And then Jennifer Blue is a professor in physics, and she became what's called a fellow in the American Physical Society. That's the highest honor to ever get to that level of that professional organization. It's that prestigious. And so she got it for all of her work, and actually diversity in physics and women in physics and some of those efforts that she does. And so there was another one that was in there. It's a retired professor here at Miami, and that was her mentor. So when she got that notice, she called her mentor that's retired and couldn't wait to share the news. And then entrepreneurship at Miami. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say about this one. This department and also the John Altman Institute for Entrepreneurship has been phenomenal. I mean, we do it like nobody else does it here. So it's in the Farmer School of Business, but many of the majors are outside the Farmer as well. And so it's very interdisciplinary. But for the last 16 years, we've been ranked in the top 10 internationally, not nationally, internationally. And this year, once again, we're 7th internationally, the 5th public in the country for undergraduate entrepreneurship. And then furthermore, we won the United States Association of Small Business and Entrepreneurship for the best model program in the country this year, and we won the NASDAQ award a few years ago. So when you look at the people who have won these awards, it's MIT and Cornell and Stanford, Berkeley, and then there's Miami. So it's pretty awesome on their success. And then this is what I was going to talk about, enhancing our distinctiveness. So our faculty and staff members have got out there and really tried to work on some areas, and we do internal investments, but then if we can get more because of our excellence, then we can just do more with that money. And so we're always trying to cost share and kind of leverage our dollars that we put in. And so Choose Ohio First was a $1 million grant that came to Miami University for those students in Ohio that want to study the STEM disciplines here, so the science, engineering, and math disciplines. And so we got a lot of nice money there to support their stuff coming in. And then the campus commute was a National Science Foundation grant with this cohort, and it was about $600,000, and it lets us do graphics processing units and bring that into the system. So it really will bolster our infrastructure for computing, but also our infrastructure for artificial intelligence. And so those new monies came in as well. And then Steve Large, we've been doing a lot of late with mental health support, and we've always are trying to catch up with it. There's more needs than ever before, and we saw sort of even more larger needs during COVID, even the post-COVID world. And so we were able to get a grant for about $1 million from the state of Ohio that helps us actually bolster all of our student health support services, counseling, and also kind of our stepwise strategy where we engage with partners outside too for students that need additional assistance, and we can keep them in school. They don't have to take any kind of medical leave. So really great news on that front. And this was a great program from the Ohio Department of Higher Education. We got a nice grant here, a big one. And what it is there's such a shortage of social workers in the state that they put out a grant proposal if you can create more of them and we create lots of great ones, that they support it. So once you're in your junior or senior year or your graduate program, you could be eligible for $10,000 more towards your degree. And also it can also pay for those, because social work, you do a lot of unpaid fellowships for credit. It even makes you pay for those as well. So it'll be very nice for those students. And it's an attempt of Ohio to kind of bolster their numbers in that area where there's a shortage. And then First Responders Grant, we got a nice $650,000 grant as well for our police force. And Chief Van Winkle there was the PI on that grant. And so it's really sort of benefiting our safety here in the greater Oxford area. So really great stuff going on there. And then celebrating our achievements as a university. Got all kinds of great accolades. So we got the Voter Friendly Campus Award this year because of our overall numbers of people that vote and students that vote. Yeah. So really phenomenal. we're so happy about that. The organization that does it is one that's the profession for the student life professionals. And then for the 4th straight year, we got Best Employer from Forbes. And so they pick about 100 of them or so. So it's quite the nice thing to get to have on your belt, under your belt. And then this just came out, and this is interesting. So Miami University, just from Forbes, they did a huge study, interviews, and all kinds of metrics to kind of rank organizations, both for-profits and not-for-profits, in terms of how well they do with diversity within the organization. And so we turned out in the whole country, I think we were like 16th in terms of all corporations. We were number 1 in education. So it was Miami, Brown, and Berkeley. And so we're quite happy with how our sort of inclusive excellence is going on here at Miami and how we embrace everybody. So, and our alums, we love talking about our alumni. And so this year, the Freedom Summer Award last year it went to Will Haygood, and Will's the famous author. He wrote books about Sugar Ray Robinson, the boxer, and he wrote books about Sammy Davis Jr., the entertainer, and he wrote books about Thurgood Marshall and Eugene Allen, the butler, and Tigerland, that all-black high school in Columbus in 1969, Colorization, 100 years of black film in a white world. And so he writes about the black experience in America. Well, we awarded him the Freedom Summer of '64 award, and so it was just great to do that. And we did it at downtown Cincinnati in the National Underground Freedom Center Railroad Museum there. So it was really cool. And then Sharon Draper, she just was here on campus. We gave her an honorary doctorate degree. She's a famous author. She's been at the White House 6 times. She's been Teacher of the Year in the United States. And she has this incredible writing career. She has this new book, Out of My Mind, and it's about this little 10-year-old girl with cerebral palsy, and it's been made into a movie, and so it'll be on Disney Plus here shortly. So we're really excited about that. And then Juan Gilbert, 91, got the National Medal of Technology Innovation Award from Biden for his technology development around voting. And so really kind of neat stuff going on there, and that's quite the thrill for him, I can imagine, being the president. And then Sam Bachman, he pitches for the Angels, but he was at Miami, and he was one of our greatest pitchers ever. He always threw smoke, so he was always above 100 miles an hour, which is unusual in college, but very unusual in the MAC. And so he got drafted early on, and he's now out at the Angels. And the neat story about this was that he got drafted early, so he left Miami without finishing his degree. Then he finished it up online, and he came back, and we had a special ceremony for him this year. And so it was great to see him complete his Miami degree. And our campaign, this is where we're at so far. So we started this in 2016, really in earnest in 2017. And so the total campaign total now is, in those years, we've raised about $670 million. And so we're about 65 or 67% of our total. Our goal is $1 billion. We want to try to finish that off in 3 years. And so we have 330 plus to go. And the breakdown of that in the campaign, about 224 million is cash, 240 million is bequests, and then about 270 million are pledges, so you can pledge out a few years and then pay them off in the future as well. And then in terms of scholarships, about 41% of the overall money raised so far is for scholarships to make this Miami education possible for students, and we want that to be around 41% when we're done. Then it's mostly focused on academics, and so most of our programs and stuff that's we're out there trying to get funding for has really been focused on academics. And so it's very exciting. A couple of big ones. Hamilton Community Foundation gave us a wonderful grant and a wonderful gift so that we can pay for students to go free at the regional campuses. So that was a great deal. Jennifer and Brian Nickel. Brian was just the speaker this year at our commencement. He's the CEO of Chipotle. They did $2 million for athletics in terms of men's basketball. And then Rick Ludwin he was a producer in network television, and he did things like the David Letterman show and stuff. And we lost him in 2019, and he was just an amazing alum. He'd always come back and speak to our media, journalism, and film folks. But his bequest that he left for Miami University was above $16 million to support those students. And so Very, very generous individuals, but we're still working hard to get to that $1 billion point. And then enhancing our infrastructure. So you'll see some new things on campus, and you'll see some very new things on campus. So does everyone know where Ox College is? Yeah, so it's now the Community Arts Center in Oxford. But behind it was this old building. We called it Elm Street because it's on Elm Street. So very original. And it was an old commissary for food. It was just messy. It was gross inside, basically. It was empty for 3 decades. And so we got that all renovated with State of the Ohio money. We got money from the Butler County Commissioners, the City of Oxford, and many, many generous donors to make this happen. And so we have this great business incubator uptown. It's awesome. And in addition, it's for students, faculty, and staff can get involved with it. And so we had a nice naming gift from local individuals here at Oxford, Lee and Rosemary Fisher. And so their name is on that building. And then our first student entrepreneur, is it Valandria here? Oh, there she is. Stand up. Valandria is our very first entrepreneur that started after she graduated last year, or this year? Last year. And so she's a speech pathology major, and then, yay. And she had this entrepreneurial tendency, and so she created some creams out of shea butter for her mother who had lupus and was experiencing drying skin and nails and hair issues because of the medication, which really helped. And then it just kind of grew and grew and grew. So she decided to run with this company. It's in Elm Street, which is awesome. And we have samples outside for you if you haven't gotten it already. So congratulations, Valandria. So take the sample and go to the web and buy lots of it. And then the Clinical Health Sciences building's over there by Goggin. It's pretty amazing. It's a new building for our nursing program, our new physician's associate program, a PA program, and then speech pathology and audiology is in there as well, a program that's been there for 75 years on this campus, and so it's really great. We got a partnership with Stryker, so inside the buildings, all filled out with Stryker equipment. It's amazing. It's state of the art. It's unbelievable what our students have access to. It looks like a Stryker commercial if you want to go in there, no doubt, but we love it. And then we also have a great partnership with TriHealth, and so our student counseling is in there, but also our student clinic there. We have about 22 employees from TriHealth, or nurse practitioners and PAs and such that help our students out get better when they're not feeling well. So that's a great project. And then the McVeigh Data Sciences is awesome. It's behind engineering on Talawanda and High Street on that corner. And it involves a new degree program, emerging technology, business and design. It involves statistics and then computer science. And so really cool stuff going on in that building, bringing this transdisciplinary nature of all these disciplines together. It has an incredible extended reality stage. If you go over there today, you'll see it. It's amazing. We got robotics labs, and we also got all kinds of cybersecurity and cyber networking labs as well in there. So Rick McVeigh was an 81 graduate as a golfer here at Miami. And his quote was kind of cool when we dedicated this just a few months ago. His quote was, and it rang through all the newspapers, he said, you know, you walk up to this building, and it's got this sort of Georgian architecture, like all beautiful red brick buildings at Miami. But then you walk inside and you feel like you're in Google or Amazon. And so I hope you can go over there and check it out because it's pretty extraordinary. And then this is the Hamilton campus. And so we were fortunate. This building came on the market. And then and we were wanting to really create a partnership around manufacturing. And we actually got this great partnership with Butler Tech Career High School. And so the building's huge. It's 300,000 square feet of usable space. It's on 55 acres, and it's next to Miami's campus, so now it's all Miami's campus. And so the Butler County Commissioners and the Butler County came through with us because they really wanted to have that workforce site at Miami. And so they paid for most of this and the city of Hamilton helped out well. So you'll be able to go here in about a year or so once it's all outfitted and ready, and you can get your high school diploma. You can get any kind of certificate in manufacturing. You can get your associate degree. You'll be able to get your bachelor's degree in engineering. And you can get your master's degree as well. So it'll be going through the whole pipeline of education. So we're super excited about that. And then Bachelor Hall's next. And so they're moving out. That's up there on Patterson and 73. And it's going to be for the humanities and media, journalism, and film. And so now they'll be deconstructing the inside and redoing it, starting forward, and we'll get done here in about a year and a half. It's got that outside place, which people have always joked it was outside air, it was like for smoking or something. And they're going to cover that up and make this big atrium. And so super exciting there. And I don't like those couches in this rendering, so I'm not putting those 70s couches in there. No way. No way. And then exploring our experiences. There's been some cool stuff this year. We do the Janus Forum, where we bring together opposing viewpoints and let students listen and engage in respectful and civil ways. And it's just been our thing here at Miami that we want everyone to be exposed to all ideas and diversity of thought. The latest one the latest one we had was, it was about higher education, and the title, I love the title, it was Woke or Broke. And so the former governor, Republican governor from Indiana and former president of Purdue University, Mitch Daniels, was on one side of it, and the former Ohio State president and undersecretary to Obama was on the other side of it, Christina Johnson. So it was a great sort of discussion about higher ed. And so we do that all the time. We do topics like legalization of marijuana, abortion, various hot topics of our time. And then Fiona. So Fiona, the hippo in Cincinnati, captured the attention of the world 20 years ago, and she was born prematurely, and it took 9 months to get her healthy. And so nevertheless, she is great now. But we've had a partnership with the Cincinnati Zoo through our master's program called Project Dragonfly. And it was our 20th year anniversary. And so when we went to the zoo, I gave Fiona a degree. So she got a Miami medallion and was all honored. And so that was 1 second before that thing blew up, that watermelon. And then the little boy in the back, what was his name? What was it? Fritz was the cutest. But he was small. He was only 2,000 pounds, but he knew his place. And so he didn't come near the Fiona, Mama Fiona. And then we had our first flyover at Yager Stadium this year. So 2 Navy F-18 Super Hornet jets came flying over after the national anthem and buzzed it. And those pilots then came back to campus. They were Miami alums, and so all officers. But this program is interesting because Miami was chosen to train officers for World War II. And then in 1945, it was actually formalized into the ROTC program. And so Miami has graduated more than 2,300 officers in the Navy since then. And so quite the accomplishments. And then cool things on sports. And so celebrating our champions, Claudia Negrique Garcia and Berta Mata in field hockey were both first-team All-Americans this year. They had quite the season, which was amazing. This is a funny story. So Jessie Ghana was a field hockey goalie, and she just started this past year. And then the basketball team got a new coach, and they were having trouble finding players. And so they put a call out, does anybody want to play basketball on a varsity team? So Jessie played in high school too. So she tried out and so she was a double athlete, which is hard to do these days, in 2 sports. And so it was a great story. But every time the Miami team got ahead in the game, the student crowd would chant Jessie to get her in, Jessie, Jessie. So it was really cool to see that. Really awesome. The football team won the 2023 MAC championship. I know. So we had a wonderful year. It was a very exciting year as well. And then the MAC softball team won its 4th straight MAC championship. And so they killed it. They broke many NCAA records. And then I always show this picture. So people say, why in the heck would student athletes be saying, I want to be number 4? Well, they all have a 4.0. And so we had 73 student athletes last year that had a 4.0 grade point average. And so they really do excel. And we're saying goodbye to some phenomenal people in athletics. So Coach Katie's retiring, and he was a coach for hockey and even men's soccer. We didn't get it started long ago. And so he'll be retiring. Coach Condon in volleyball after 40-some years, and the winningest record at Miami will never be beaten, ever, as retiring. And then Coach Diarjarmo and Choker, who were the synchronized skating for 20 years, they're retiring. And they won 20 national championships in skating. And then they had 6 international appearances. And so we're saying goodbye. I'm sure we'll attract great coaches for sure, but they had such a long run here at Miami of success. And now, just real quick, the last 5 minutes, I wanted to turn over to Renate. Is she here? There she is. So give her a chance.
All right, how are you? Oh, are you going to be my assistant and forward the slides? Thank you. All right, so some of the things that I want to talk to you about is that, but could you maybe forward the slide? You know, good help is really hard to find these days, but one of the things that we would also love for you to join at some point is that we do with our students. It's the MOVE Boot Camp, where MOVE stands for Miami and Oxford Value Exercise. One of the big things we're really focused on is health and wellness, both on campus and in the community. So this is for our students, faculty, staff, and community members. We work out right in the backyard of Lewis Place. We usually have 100, sometimes up to 200 mostly students joining us. It is awesome. We do bribe them a little bit with some really cool swag when they leave, but you know, if you ever see those coming around from the alumni office, come and join us, would you? It's just so fun to exercise with the students, and it's a cool way to interact with them very differently. So next is Miami Women, and you may wonder why the Miami is all capitalized. I know several of you here in the audience know very well why it's all capitalized, right, Maggie? Because that Miami stands for the Miami Initiative for Advancing, Mentoring, and Investing in Women. If you've never been to our leadership symposium that's in the spring, it is phenomenal. This year we had, you saw that Heidi McKee, who has the grant on AI in writing. She was one of our speakers. Jenna Bush, the daughter and granddaughter of our former presidents. I'm sorry, Barbara Bush. There we go. Yes, I got it under control. She was our keynote speaker. And part of the Miami Women is also the Giving Circle, which is the collective giving circle where each member gives $1,000, and then collectively we'll have about $100,000 to $125,000 to award to students, faculty, and staff ideas. And then Megan Duffy that Greg was showing for the voter registration bus, she won one of those grants. So students come up with phenomenal ideas, and then we have the opportunity to grant those initiatives, the funding to do so through a very nice Hawk Tank. It's like Shark Tank, but a really nice version. Hawk Tank, Miami edition. The other thing is that we now have presidential fellows. These are the top of the students. There's only about 15 of them per year, so they have and it's completely merit-based scholarship, and they also work directly with the president's office and a lot of different initiatives. Here you see them all on the steps of Lewis Place. I was wondering how many people it would hold. Well, clearly 60 or more. So we'll just keep adding on to that and see how many people can fit on those stairs. But those students are absolutely phenomenal. You saw one of them, she's definitely in this picture, but Cece was one of the people who just won a Goldwater. She also won an astronaut scholarship. She is one of our presidential fellows. So they're really great scholars and leaders on campus. Then I know there's at least one of you in the audience that can tell me each one of these equations, because you're a physics major. I am also a physics, and there may be several more, but I know I talked to you just a little bit ago. I'm also a physics professor here on campus, and I absolutely love that because it's just such a great way for me to see the university both from the students and from the faculty perspectives, and to really be part of that student journey. And it's just so cool. Some of you were mentioning that too, because one of the students was also in the Glee Club, and they were like completely surprised that the students just walk into Lewis Place, because that's where we have office hours. Okay, they just walk in, and it's part of their home. So office hours at Lewis Place is a pretty cool deal, because there at office hours, we also have Sir Isaac Newton himself. That's Newton. So we have Newton's laws and Newton's paws. Some of you got to meet Newton a little bit ago because he is a therapy dog that Miami has about 20 to 30 therapy dogs that work together with their volunteer handlers with the counseling center. We have so many dog therapy programs here on campus. He is not working, if you can call going around and getting petted working, but he's been working orientation. And they always ask Dr. Steve Large, who Greg also mentioned, who is our VP for Health and Wellness, ask how many students have a dog, and it's well over 50%, probably closer to 75%. So these students are coming in, they're missing their dogs, they can't FaceTime with their dog. So, you know, Newton is very glad to take all of that attention. And you'll see him and his sister Ivy tomorrow at the parade. Just only pet Ivy, which is the lighter one, and you'll see Newton come in and just sort of hip check her out of the way. It's all about him. But that's sort of some of the things that I'm involved with, and this is always like one of the favorite weekends of the year because we get to hear all of your stories, and I can't wait to, share this time with you. Love and honor. Is there any questions? The easy ones are for me, the tough ones are for Greg. All right. Oh, we got one. Oh. See, I always say I'm a mom. I have like eyes in the back and the side of my head. I see it all.
I'm just the hippest president in America.
Oh, no. I am answering this one. All right. So before coming to Miami, when we're at our previous institution, they had asked Greg to be part of Dancing with Our Stars to help raise funds for their Center of the Homeless in South Bend. Greg can't dance. That's why I said I would answer this. He couldn't dance at all. Finally, they said, all right, how about the two-step? And that's where the boots came in, and he's worn them ever since because he just loved them.
Well, thank you, everybody, and make sure you get your shea butter on the way out from Philandria and try it out, and then buy some online. Have a great weekend. We'll see you all around campus. Thank you, everyone.
Can we turn the lights up, please? Can we turn the lights up, please?